Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Your Mac Life for Wednesday, April the 2nd, the second day of April, year 2014. This is show 1012. Thank you guys very much for joining me here this evening. I am your genial host, Shawn King. Thanks very much. It is the first Wednesday of the month. So what you need to do is, if you wish to win some prizes, and we have some prizes to give away in tonight's show, you have to, if you are not a YML subscriber, go to the top of the website, yourmaclifeshow.com. At the top of the website, there's a Friends of YML contest, or FOIML entry form at the top. Fill that entry form with, please, with a correct email address. The form comes to me. I drop your name into our virtual hat. Bada bing, bada boom. Later on the show, we'll do a drawing for some stuff that you guys can win. On tonight's show, we're going to have, as always, our good friend Jim Dalrymple from The Loop at loopinsight.com. Jim's going to be joining us talking about whatever we want to talk about, but we'll talk about Office for iPad. And we want to know what you guys think about Office for iPad. Is that something that you need, want, will use? For example, I was talking in the pre-show, I don't. And it's not because I have a hatred for Office or Microsoft or anything else along those lines. I just have not needed Office on the desktop, and therefore haven't needed it and won't need it on my iPad. That's not to say that it's not a good product. From everything I've heard from all kinds of people, it is in fact a very good product. It is, the reviews have been good, that it's a decent user interface. Now there's some issues when it comes to what it can connect with. For example, it can't save the Dropbox, things like that, but for the most part, what it's supposed to do, it does. If you need to view Office documents on your iPad, it does a good job of that. And Microsoft is not dumb. They're saying if you want to create those documents, you've got to sign up for Office for $99 a year for their Office thing. It's called 365. All right. This is why I think that this is targeted more at people in enterprise or in offices rather than the average Joe person, small office, home office person. The other thing is, too, I think a lot of us have moved on from Office. A lot of us have found other ways to do what we need and want to do when it comes to having to manipulate or see or use Office-type documents. Brian Monroe says, yes, Microsoft is dumb. They waited this long to make Office for iPad. They didn't wait this long. This didn't come out. They didn't start coding this over the weekend and show it up on Monday. Microsoft's been working on this for a very, very, very long time. And as the new CEO of Microsoft said, this is not as easy as simply porting Office for Windows over to the Mac, like they did with Word 6, which was awful. They had to create this from the ground up. And Microsoft has got some constituencies they have to serve with Office. So they had to make sure that all those things were correct. Now, that being said, I certainly believe that Office for iPad has been usable for a year and available for customers in the last 6 months. I may have heard that from a little birdie. But because of some of the grown-ups at Microsoft didn't want to release it, didn't want to put it on the iPad, because to them, that admits defeat for the Surface product or their own tablets. New leadership at Microsoft, maybe that's what has changed. That's what I think. We'll talk to Jim Dalrymple about that and a bunch of other things. We're also going to be talking about Olympus. The nice folks at Olympus are sending me on a trip, and I thank them very much for that. We'll talk about that a little later on the show. We'll have a couple more photo tips for you, and we have, again, prizes to give away, so please get your entry form in. If you are a subscriber to Your Mac Life, don't worry about it. You're already in the prize draw. Don't go to worry about it. Subscribers, I do that for you. I do all the legwork. I put in the time, the energy, I'm kidding. It's easy. It's just dropping your email into a virtual hat, so don't worry about it. If you want to subscribe to Your Mac Life, and I would like you to, very much so, if only to pay for the business cards I had to get. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. Go to the website, yourmaclifeshow.com. On the left-hand side, there is a subscription button there, and you can subscribe for $2, $5, $10, $15, whatever amount of money you want a month. Comes out of your PayPal account or out of your major credit card, and it drops a couple of bucks into my account every month. So I'd like if you did that. That would be kind. I don't know why I want to ask this question. I got time. It's an odd question, but you know, you guys are used to me asking odd questions. I've been thinking about this. Now, if you don't drink coffee, don't answer the question. Okay, don't write me. I don't drink coffee. Don't bother. I drink tea. Don't bother. I've gone through 4 different kinds of coffee makers in the last 6 months. What do you guys use to make your coffee? How many of you use? I'm just curious about this. It's not a Mac thing. I'm just curious. How many of you use the old-fashioned, old-school coffee makers? You know, you put the coffee, you put the filter in, the coffee, water on top, blah blah blah. How many of you use something like a French press? How many of you use something like the AeroPress, which I personally love? That's my favorite one. Or how many use? Alessandra called it a cafetiere. We call them bialettos. It's the big percolator type ones. I'm just curious. The email on air at yourmaclifeshow.com. Oh, K-cups or Nespresso or a Tureg is another option. I like the Turegs for convenience. I don't like their coffee. I like the Bialetto for the fact that it gives you 10 ounces of just straight, pure, unadulterated espresso, which if you need to jumpstart your car, that's what you can use. The French press is okay, but I like the French press because it makes a lot of coffee. It makes like 2 or 3 mugs of coffee. The old-fashioned coffee makers I wasn't crazy about because it would make 10, 12 cups, then it would get burnt if you didn't drink it all right away. But I'm still a big fan of my AeroPress. And actually, again, thanks to your Mac Life subscribers, ordered an AeroPress over the weekend too. Also going to get a tripod for my camera. So your Mac Life subscribers, you paid for an AeroPress. This is what your Mac Life subscribers paid for in the last week. An AeroPress, a tripod for the camera, and business cards for me to go to Whistler, British Columbia a week from Saturday, thanks to the folks at Olympus. They're sending me up there. And again, we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. So yeah, email how you make your coffee. Someone once said, I thought it was a brilliant line, coffee makers are your way of accomplishing one small task perfectly first thing every morning. So it means no matter how bad your day is, you can say, I did one right thing all day long. No matter how crappy your day is, you got one day where you nailed it, where you just went, boom, yep, this is the day. This is the day where I got all this stuff right. I got someone else asking me where the Facebook page is for Your Mac Life. You can go, I think you can go to Facebook. You can go to your own Facebook page, do a search for Your Mac Life. For you folks who are in the IRC chat room, I just cut and pasted the link into there. But I think you can just search for Your Mac Life on Facebook, and the group will pop in. MacMan says, is Shawn roboting a bit for anyone else? I don't know what that means. Brian Monroe says to his shadow, I'm sure there are smart people working there, just the arrogant and stupid management, this is Microsoft, that mucks things up. You'll learn about it. Yeah, the only ask with the business cards, I'll show them later. I don't disagree with that statement. I don't think anyone would disagree that with Microsoft's management has mucked a lot of things up over the years. There is no more. The other aspect of it too, we don't realize, there is no more Macintosh BU. There used to be a separate business unit that created Microsoft's Mac software. There isn't anymore. So maybe that's part of the problem, is that there isn't one group of people that can push to get Mac software done for Microsoft. Only says, I want my subscription to go to beer. If you so choose, if you put in your subscription notes that say, Shawn, you can only spend this on beer, I will honor your requests. I had someone send me $50 one time. They said that I could only spend it on a particular kind of whiskey. And I had to go buy the whiskey and take a picture of it. And I did. That's not a problem. It's your money, so you can dictate how it gets spent. I think that's only fair. Brian Monroe says that's part of it, Shawn, but it's a much bigger issue. Oh yeah, it's absolutely a bigger issue. And the fact that there is no longer Mac BU is just part of a much, much broader issue. And it's not just a Macintosh issue. We've watched Microsoft do a bunch of missteps, if not outright stupid, idiotic things over the past, let's say, 10 years. Well, to be frank, over the period of time that Steve Ballmer's running the company. I don't think there's any doubt about that. That's definitely an issue with what we'll call now the old Microsoft. MacMan says, Shawn, be sure to ask Jim about BlackBerry's CEO's latest tantrum. Maybe. Try to remind me about it later. I don't know if it's something I even care enough about to talk about it. Just talk about companies shooting themselves in the foot. There's no doubt about the fact that Microsoft is definitely, BlackBerry is definitely one of those companies. So we're going to talk to Jim Dalrymple from The Loop at loopinsight.com in just a few minutes when he comes into the Google Hangout room. If you haven't had a chance, where is my YouTube channel? I got to get this stuff posted for you guys to check out. I have a YouTube channel. I've got two YouTube channels. I've got two YouTube playlists, actually. The one playlist is for the show. So if you want to get a handle on all of yourmaclifeshow.com's playlists, the archives, you can go to probably go to YouTube and do a search for Your Mac Life Archives, 43 videos up there. Or you can also do a search for Starting Point Photography. What I did was last week I started to play around with YouTube, and I created a couple of videos that show two applications. One called Waterlog, which I really, really like. Really fun app to play around with. And used a neat app called Reflector. And Reflector is kind of fun. Reflector allows you to take the video feed, or the video from your iPad or iOS device and broadcast it to your computer. And then I can capture that using software. So if you get a chance, go to the Starting Point Photography's review of Waterlog on YouTube, and you can see that. And then I've also another video up there about the other app I use called Snapseed. And I love both these apps. Waterlog is, I think, $3. Snapseed is free. And if you take photos on your iPhone, maybe I should save this for the photo tip thing. But anyway, go get Snapseed. Go to the iTunes store, do a search for Snapseed, download it. Without a doubt, it's the best free app that you'll find for your photography to edit and manipulate your photography. I can't say enough good things about it. 5:44 now, just waiting for Jim Dalrymple to come. So we can talk to him about Office and whatever else comes to mind. Jim. Email, as always, to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. We love getting emails from you guys. During the week, if you want to, you can still send emails. If you listen to the archive, and most of you listen to the archive, if you want to send me email, that email address works. onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. And also Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com. SHAWN at yourmaclifeshow.com. Works if you are an IRCer. We are in the IRC at irc.chat-solutions.org. We're on the Pound Your Mac Life channel. But if you want to join the IRC and don't have IRC software, it's easy. The website, yourmaclifeshow.com. Right there on the front page below the video, so just scroll up and you'll see below there, all you do is type your name in, and it puts you into our IRC chat room. You don't have to know anything about IRC. You can just sit and watch the IRC. You don't got to participate. You can just read what the folks in the IRC chat room are talking about. So we always encourage you guys to do that because, as we always say, IRC is half the fun of the show. Mosquito is eating hot wings and hot wing sauce hurting, fingers burning. I've never understood that. I have literally never understood. There's a pub here or over in North Vancouver called Queen's Cross Pub. It's a typical pseudo-British pub. But they've always advertised that they have the hottest wings in town. And we would go there in college, me and Carl, Greg, and Rich. And those four maniacs would sit there. They'd order 6 wings, start eating the wings, and sweat would be pouring down their faces. They'd be panting and drinking water and drinking milk. And I'm like, why are you idiots doing this? I don't understand why people would eat food that hurts. I would never voluntarily eat food that actually hurt me. It makes no sense. Why? Why are you doing this? Could someone text message or Facebook or Twitter Jim Dalrymple and tell him that check his email? I sent him the link. God, we've been doing this for what, 8 years now? He knows. Wednesdays, 5:45 Pacific time, 9:45 Atlantic Standard Time, Daylight Saving Time, whatever it is. Dude, come on. I just got to sit here and wait for him. There's nothing we can do. Oh, by the way, thanks very much for the emails from you guys about Gazelle. It was interesting to see that some folks had used them and liked them. I haven't gotten a single email from anyone who said that they've used Gazelle and wasn't satisfied with the service. And like I said, I have got emails from you folks who said, oh, no, I wouldn't use Gazelle because I make more money from some other way. That's fine. I have no problem with that. And I guarantee you can probably get more money from Craigslist or maybe eBay or Apple, depending on the time frame. But for me, the convenience of Gazelle outweighs. I don't want to put an ad on Craigslist and have someone call me and try to negotiate with me and then go to somewhere else, because I sure as hell ain't coming to my house. Go to somewhere else and have to deal with someone and you give me money and I give you this iPhone and please don't beat me up and I won't beat you. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. It's so much easier and worth the less money I'll get, be able to drop it into an envelope, and then 2-3 weeks later, Gazelle shows up, sends me a check for that amount of money. That to me is worth losing whatever amount of money it would be. I don't think I've ever been really burned. I know I've seen people get some insane amounts of money off their Craigslist phones, but I've never, I guess when I'm ready to sell my old phone, that price, I think it's called Delta, that price differential has gotten a lot smaller. So it's not that big a deal for me. MacMan says, I use Gazelle because I didn't want to deal with the eBay scammers like a friend had to 4 times before he sold it. Brian Monroe, I've done eBay before. It works good. Works well, Brian. It works well, but you do have to be careful and know how to use it. Many do not. Exactly. Absolutely. If you're comfortable with eBay, if you're comfortable selling things on Craigslist, then definitely use those processes, because you'll make more money off of those things. But if you're not comfortable or don't care to get absolute, complete top dollar for your purchase, Gazelle and other services like it do offer a good deal and a good service. Brian Monroe says, the trick is to see who you're selling it to and make sure they do not have negative strikes against them. His shadow, true story. Maybe I told a coworker left an iPhone 5 in a restaurant. Spent 2 days scouring Kijiji. Came upon an ad for a ridiculously cheap iPhone 5. Noticed that the screen cover had the same corner lift as his. Met the guy in a restaurant. Okay, shadow, we're waiting for the rest of the story. It was his phone. Yep. Did he confront the guy and say, you dirtbag, call the police? See, I wouldn't want to deal with that. I just wouldn't want to, because, yeah, for me, I'd be calling the guy a dirtbag. Smart people would call the police. He says, no, hey, we can call the cops. You can just give me my phone. Good. Good. I am reviewing, while waiting for Jim, reviewing I don't know how old all y'all are. Some of you are older than me. Some of you are younger than me. But I think if you're under the, let's say, I think if you're over the age of 35, this is going to amaze you. I got this crap. Hang on a second. Let me find the box. Just a second. Y'all stay right there. Okay, I'm back. So I'm reviewing this product for a company called Seagate, and they make hard drives. It's called the Seagate Backup Plus, slim metal design for PC and Mac, portable drive. Easy backup for your computer, mobile devices, and social network sites. I don't even know what the hell that means. You can use it between Windows and Macintoshes. So here it is. Okay? There it is. That's the Seagate drive. It's the Seagate Backup Plus drive. And why I say if you're older than 35, this might amaze you. This is a 2 terabyte drive. 2 terabytes is in this drive. I can hide this drive behind one hand. All right? This is small enough that you can't see this anymore. 2 terabytes. Now, I don't know how fast it is, but 2 terabytes for, I think, I don't know, someone, oh, geez. Sorry. Someone go to Google and do a search for Seagate Backup Plus 2 terabyte drive. See how much that cost. I'm going to guess under $200. Brian Monroe probably 5400. Oh yeah, definitely 5400 RPM drive. USB 3. But I'm always on people about doing backups. And the thing is, don't just do a single backup to a hard drive that sits next to your desk or a time machine drive that's local. Because what happens is, if your house burns down, you lost the backup. All right? You always want to have one backup that's somewhere off-site. So this would be a great backup to put in your purse, for crying out loud, your shirt pocket, but in your briefcase. Backup at night. Take this with you to the office. Take this with you into the bedroom. Take this with you when you go places to either do backups or make sure your backup is off-site somewhere. So I also have a cloud backup too. I use Backblaze for a cloud backup for minor things, not a whole lot of stuff, just really, really important things. I also have a backup on Dropbox, and I've got a backup of all my photos on Flickr. Flickr gives you a terabyte of data for free. A terabyte of photo data for free. There is software that will automatically upload all my iPad, all my iPhone photos to Flickr for free. If you don't use that, now this goes out to Kelly. I think Kelly is Kelly in our IRC chat room. Kelly, this goes out to you because we were chatting last week, and I asked her the same thing I ask a lot of people about their iPhones or their iPads. When's the last time you backed it up? And most people go, oh no. Then I say to them, how many photos do you have on your iPhone? And Kelly looked at hers, and Kelly said she had like 1,000 photos. I said, what happens if you lose that iPhone? If that iPhone crashes or breaks, you've lost 1,000 photos. Flickr has free software that when you take a picture, will upload it to your Flickr account and make it private so no one can see it. All my photos get posted to Flickr, but they get posted to a private folder that every now and then I'll go in and I'll take a look and delete that one or make that one public or things like that. Kelly, you know what I'm about to say, so I'm going to, when you get a chance, Kelly has a good point. How many files, photos, music files did you have to lose to learn this? Terabytes of data. I had to lose terabytes and terabytes of data. I've lost so much data. I tell a story about my photo shoot in Washington, D.C. in my photo class. And I don't show any of those pictures because I lost them in a hard drive crash. I tell stories about the photos I took one of the Paris Expos. I lost them in a hard drive crash. So I've lost lots and lots of photos. So I speak from experience here. But yeah, if Flickr is offering you a free terabyte of space and a free piece of software that will automatically in the background upload software to Flickr and keep it private, you'd be insane not to use it. Absolutely insane not to use it. You got to use it. Same with Dropbox. Dropbox at a certain size is free. Go and use it. Do at least minimal backups. Because I've been doing this for 20 years, and I've probably been mentioning this at least once a month for the last 10 years. If you have a hard drive crash, I no longer have any sympathy for you, because you can get 2 terabytes of drives that you can hold in your hand. You can get 1 terabyte free from Flickr. You can get gigs from Amazon and Apple and Microsoft, and there's backup all over the place. So you've got no excuse nowadays to not have a backup. And a lot of this backup stuff can be automated. You can automate Time Machine backups. You can automate Dropbox. You can automate iCloud. You can automate a lot of these backups. So yeah, whenever I hear someone complaining about losing data or something happening to their data, I've got no sympathy for them anymore. Unless you lost it like the last day, unless your computer crashed while you were writing the document out. If you say, oh, I lost that photo I took a month ago. Nope, sorry, I'm just going to make fun of you. Looks like we're not going to get Jim Dalrymple on the show tonight. That's okay. Scroll up. But I do want to hear from you guys. I do want to hear about your uses of Office. Do you still use Office in your let's do it as a progression. Do you still use Office in your life or job, let's say at least once a week? Whether it's a PC, whether it's a Mac, whatever it is. Have you looked? I haven't even looked at it. Office for iPad, I haven't even bothered to look at it because I know I'm never going to use it. Have you checked out Office for iPad? Will you use Office for? Answer any and or all of these questions. I'm curious to see what the audience says about their Office usage. Email onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. So the nice folks at Olympus, I mentioned this earlier in the pre-show. I've always been a big fan of the Olympus. Let me just pull up the website. Olympus, Olympus. I've always been a fan of Olympus's, in particular, their point-and-shoot cameras. Those are the ones I've used most often. And they have a range of cameras called the Tough line, the Stylus Tough line of cameras. Looks like they got 5 of them now. And I've always liked them, if only because I really believe that they are some of the toughest, for lack of a better term, toughest cameras I've ever heard of, and let alone used. And for many years, I had a Stylus Tough, I want to call it a 7890 or something, I don't know what it was. But it was a camera that I would use in adverse conditions. If I'm going to the beach, I'm not taking, now we get Jim Dalrymple. Now I start the story, and frickin' Dalrymple shows up. God damn it. Jim?
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
Now, we've been doing this for 8 years.
Yes.
What's your excuse this time around?
Black Sabbath is in town.
So?
So I went down to chat with the guys.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Cool. So are just a chat, or you got an interview coming up with Black Sabbath?
No, this was just the crew. I went down to chat with some of those guys. Haven't seen them in a while.
Oh, the roadies.
And you know, it was a good chat, but I get out a bit late. So
you were chatting with the roadies?
No.
The actual band?
The engineers and stuff.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. That's no problem. Like I said, I didn't know. I didn't realize that you were off doing that. Are they doing? Obviously, they're doing a show in Halifax.
Yeah, tomorrow night.
Are you going?
Oh, definitely. Whole family's going.
Now, see, that's a concert you'll fit in better than you did the Keith Urban concert.
No doubt.
You'll fit in much better at a Black Sabbath gig than you ever would at a Keith Urban concert.
and if Tony Iommi flings a guitar out to me and calls my name, you want to look the hell out.
That's right. Because if nothing else, you'll have your son there for backup.
Yeah. And Monique, she's tougher than all of us.
That's right, exactly, Monique. let's so I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say about the Sabbath concert. Let's talk a little bit about Office for iPad. It was released earlier this week, or sorry, last week. We talked about it briefly on last week's show. The fact that it was announced during Macworld Expo, not at Macworld Expo. Have you started out yet?
I downloaded it and loaded up a document, but you can't really do anything without a subscription. And I'm not paying $99 for it.
That's right. You kind of sound about as ambivalent towards this thing as I do. Do you think this is going to be, for lack of a better term, important to the Macintosh community?
Well, there's a couple things I think that you have to look at. One, it's going to be important, but not to the general public. It's going to be important to business because they standardize on Office, and now everybody can use Office and all that kind of stuff. So, but I could care less.
From a personal or professional point of view, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if this is common among, let's say, online media. We just don't get Word documents, Office documents anymore, do we?
Well, every once in a while, a PR person will send in an Office document, and I'm thinking, like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Things are just fine.
Yeah, I always tell them just to cut and paste it into the actual email, or I'll just open it up in preview. It looks fine in preview.
Yeah. Yeah, no worries there at all.
The other interesting behind-the-scenes stuff, maybe a little inside baseball for our audience, is do you have any inkling, any guesses, any information as to why it, quote-unquote, took so long?
No idea, but it's kind of funny that as soon as the new CEO takes over, that Office is there. I mean, obviously it wasn't completed in 3 weeks.
That's right. That's right. You and I probably heard the same rumors from insiders that it had been mostly ready about a year ago and definitely ready 6 months ago, but it was the grown-ups at Microsoft who were saying no to this for any number of reasons. And the biggest grown-up that we can say is Steve Ballmer. Steve Ballmer, from what we understand, was holding back deployment of Office for the iPad.
Well, I think it would have been a whole lot easier for Microsoft to release Office if the Surface had taken off.
Yes, I agree. Wait. Yeah, back up. You think it would have been easier for them to release Office for the iPad if the Surface was a success?
Yes. Because then they wouldn't be worried so much about the iPad. But the way that it sits, releasing Office for the iPad kind of shows that nobody really wanted the Surface. And we know nobody wanted the Surface anyway. That just makes it worse. And it's the top downloaded app? Who knows how many bought a subscription, but it's a top downloaded app. I mean, that must kick them right in the butt.
Well, that's not unusual, if only because, I mean, Office must be the single biggest selling software suite ever.
Ever, yeah.
And so just by dint of that, even though you've got to believe they've lost a lot of customers, you and I, if nothing else, over the last 5 years, there's still a lot of folks out there who, and I've been asking the audience about this, use Office either voluntarily or involuntarily on a fairly regular basis who probably downloaded this to check it out. I think you're right. The key is how many people then bought a year subscription to Office 365. I think that number is going to be a lot smaller. If you had an Apple iTunes Store list for that, I don't think it would be in the top 100.
Yeah, and I think I'm a perfect example of what happened. Now, when it came out, unlike when turn-by-turn direction, TomTom, and stuff like that came out, I downloaded them right away, and I went out in my car at like 3 in the morning and, was driving around looking at the directions to see how it worked. I didn't do that with Office. I mean, it came out, and I did some other things, and then I posted a story about it, and then I did some other things, and then I thought, oh, yeah, that's there, so I'll go download it.
You just didn't really care about it, did we?
I really didn't. I mean, I think Jason Snell brought up a good point. I did write an article about my views, and I really don't see a battle between Office and iWork.
Yeah.
I think to a large extent that battle is over. Enterprise and corporations are going to stick to Office, and the average person, small business user, is going to use iWork because it's free.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you? And I've been running my business using iWork now, and I said in the story, and people that need the extra power and robustness of especially spreadsheets are going to go to Excel. No doubt about that, and
sure.
That's where they should go. But that doesn't mean that somebody like me who does, my magazine payments and all that, keep track of all that kind of stuff in a spreadsheet, I don't need Excel. I've never needed Excel. It's just been the standard and the one that, you use.
It's the idea that I've been telling people that you go with what you know. You go with what you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
That if Keynote hadn't been around, I'd still be using PowerPoint.
Right.
Because I know how to use PowerPoint. And I would have downloaded Office because of that. But because there wasn't a good version of Keynote available for the Macintosh, of PowerPoint for the Macintosh, even the Office one sucked compared to the Windows one, it was easy. It was no pain for me to move over to Keynote. And there was no pain for me to move over to Word. Away from Word. Like I said, Preview opens up these documents just fine. As long as Apple keeps making that a slippery slope, people will slide down it very easily and go wee the whole way down. And that's going to continue to take away from the install base of Office for the Macintosh. Not just Office for the iPad, but Office for the Macintosh too. There's no doubt that Microsoft's days of owning the Macintosh space in this kind of word processor, spreadsheet kind of stuff are long over.
Well, I mean, I use the Keynote app a few times a year whenever I have a talk to do.
Yeah.
I'll use Keynote. And, if it's good enough for Steve Jobs, then hell, yeah, it's good enough for me.
That's right.
Now, the point that Jason Snell brought up is that a lot of people don't use either.
Yeah.
And I'm actually one of those people that I use Keynote, I use Numbers. I don't use Pages that often because I use Byword.
Mm-hmm.
And I use it because it supports Markdown,
mm-hmm.
and because I can just go into Byword and, it's just a blank screen. There's not a whole lot of stuff going on, and that's just what I need. I just need to go in and write. I don't need, to make a newsletter and put pictures in or, do fancy things. I just need to write.
There's an interesting story on Seeking Alpha. Basically, Microsoft, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Do you think that's what's going on here? That this is Microsoft not ganging up on, but sort of protecting its flank from Google?
Yeah, I think that, Microsoft doesn't really have to protect itself from Google because it's getting billions in licensing from them. So,
yeah.
They probably want Google to screw up some more so that they can get more money out of them.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you can release something for the iPad and, have that Office app out there and people are going to buy it and corporations are going to use it. There's a school of thought that would say, and this goes for iTunes on Android too, that is your competitive advantage.
Yeah.
The problem with Office on Surface is that nobody wants the Surface.
Yeah.
So if they want Office on a tablet, it's got to be the iPad.
The other thing is,
and that's where they are now. That's what they're stuck with.
The other thing is, I think it's really interesting. I don't know if enough people are talking about it in this particular manner. I'm impressed, and like I said, I have not downloaded Office for the iPad. I don't need it, don't want it. We'll never use it. I'm impressed with how good it is. I've read all the reviews from Jason Snell and your comments and everyone else's comments, and this is not Bill Gates's Word 6. This is not Steve Ballmer's Office 2011. This is actually
no compromise.
There's no compromise. Yeah, this is actually a pretty. If this didn't have Microsoft's name on it, this is a very good piece of software, and that I'm impressed by.
Well, one thing that you can do when you download it is, it's a read-only document, but you can move around the interface some, and you can't make edits or anything, but still moving around the interface. What struck me is that Microsoft's big thing with the Surface is no compromises, but their best selling app right now is on the iPad, and they made a ton of compromises.
Yeah, exactly.
And the reason that people are saying that, oh, this is a good app, including me, I said, you got to give Microsoft credit for making doing a good job on the app.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they did. There's still some things in there that are still a bit too PC for me, but they did a better job than what I expected them to do. And giving them that kind of credit, what this comes down to, and the challenges that I think that the two companies have is Apple's challenge is that the spreadsheet is not powerful enough to fit most people's need or most of enterprise needs, big companies.
Mm-hmm.
So Apple's challenge, if they wanted to dominate that market, is to make numbers more powerful. Okay, so that's a challenge. What can make that happen? Well, Apple has to throw resources at it. Chances are they won't.
Yeah.
Now, Microsoft's challenge, I think, is worse. Microsoft's challenge is to bring the price point down to the point where people like you and I will go in and say, $10 a year? Okay, I'll do that.
Yep.
I'll try it out for $10 a year.
Sure.
Or $20? Okay. But anything over that, I'm thinking, nah. Now, I don't need it. That's a waste of $25, That's a case of Heineken.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm not wasting a case of Heineken on Office. So those are the two challenges that I see in these. I mean, Word and Pages, I think are pretty comparable.
Yeah.
There's some features and footnotes and stuff like that one does better than the other, or one doesn't do it all. Things like that, but for the most part, they're pretty comparable in what they do. Keynote, I think, is better than PowerPoint myself,
yeah.
And I've used both, so I think Keynote is better. So the big thing is the spreadsheet, and I had a guy write me right after I posted that opinion piece, and he said, I do these computational things with Excel. And he said what it was, and I probably couldn't even spell it. It was just a bunch of consonants and vowels, strung together to make these big words. And he said numbers just can't do that. And you need Excel. There is no doubt that's what you need. So, but the challenges, I think Microsoft's challenges are bigger than Apple's because they won't lower the price.
Yeah. That's true, because and that's one of the things we've always said about the difference between Microsoft and Apple. Microsoft sees as their corporate job is to make money. There's no problem with that. I have no problem with that. I like making money. You like making money. We all like making money.
Yeah.
But I really believe that Apple thinks that's going to happen anyway. Their job is to, in a big picture, mission statement kind of way, make the world a better place. It's just two different ways looking at the same thing. But I agree with you. If Microsoft, I liken them to the HBO thing. HBO says, no, we'll never have a subscription service where folks who don't have cable can get HBO. But if you did that at, say, $10 a month, millions more people would sign up. Same with, I think, with this kind of thing. If it was only $10 a year, because the install base is so huge, even I would pay you $10 just to be able to use that software. But I'm not paying you $99 a year for that software that I might use once every 6 months.
I mean, it's kind of like when you look at Dropbox. I forget what the upgrade pricing of Dropbox is for the 100. What is it? 100 megs or
100 gigs.
100 gigs. What was it, like $20 or $30? Is anybody,
It was cheap.
It was cheap. Anyway, my Dropbox filled up. I never thought I'd fill up my Dropbox, but it filled up. I looked at the price, and it said, whatever it was, $30 or $40 or whatever.
No.
I just said, oh, it was a bit much for what I thought, but then I thought, okay, if it's already filled up, I'm obviously using it. So yeah, okay, I'll buy that.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So I did. I bought the upgrade for however much it was. I still didn't want to because it was right on that borderline of, is this too much? But then I said, okay, I'm using it. I filled it up. I want to continue to use it.
Yeah.
And Office falls nowhere in there for me. Nowhere.
The other pain point for Microsoft is, as Mosquito points out in the IRC chat room, subscription software will cost me more money in the long run. Just the way it is. If I can pay $300 for a piece of software that'll last me 10 years, that's cheaper than spending $100 a year for those 10 years.
That's true. It is very true. And people would rather own the software
Sure.
than rent it. But then you have Adobe who, made that big move. And apparently it's working out for them.
It's working out great for them because, and that's why it's going to work out great for Microsoft too. The thing is, the average person doesn't get that they're not the customer. The average person in our IRC chat room who are listening to the archive of the show, if you're just mom and pop, if you're just a small office, home office, you are not the customer for the full Adobe suite. They're selling that to pros, to people who are making money off of their computers, now off of their software. And those folks think, for the most part, subscriptions are worth it. You and I may not, but for a business, for a company who's going to get 5 seats or 5 licenses or 10 or 20 or 100, it's worth it for them.
I mean, I think you just said it a minute ago. We are not the customer.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not Adobe's customer. I'm Pixelmator's customer.
Yeah.
I'm not Office's customer. I'm iWork's customer.
Yep, that's right.
And I can do everything that I need to do with Pixelmator and iWork, and for that matter, iLife.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make a quick little movie. Yeah, iMovie. Stick it in there. Done. I mean, I want to look at my photos. I mean, somebody like you, this is where we differ. I want to look at my photos. iPhoto. I'm done.
Sure.
For you get Lightroom or you get Aperture. Yep. But then, when it comes to music, I still use GarageBand, but Pro Tools for me. Yeah, that's right. You'd probably stick with GarageBand. So for most people, I think the people that are listening to the show and the people that we talk to on Twitter on a daily basis, if you talk to most of them, there's probably one app, whether one pro level app that they kind of need, whether that's Excel or Aperture or Pro Tools or whatever it is. Yeah, that one app, I'm pretty good at that, so I'm going to need that.
Yeah,
but other than that, most of us can live on these free apps that Apple is giving away.
That's got to scare a lot of people. That's got to terrify folks who are trying to develop this kind of software, and whether it be it's got, for example, Pixelmator. We all love Pixelmator. Great company, nice people, great software.
Yep.
If you are trying to decide if you can afford Photoshop, go and download the free trial of Pixelmator. I guarantee you can probably do, depending on what you're doing, 65 to 85% of what you think you'll need Photoshop for in the $30 version of Pixelmator. Yeah. That being said, Pixelmator has to lie awake at night worried, what if Apple decides it wants to do a better piece of graphics software to compete with Photoshop? That would just blow poor Pixelmator out of the water. Yeah,
but I don't think that they will.
No, neither do I.
I don't think that's an area that Apple's really concerned with. I mean, I don't know if Apple's really concerned with the music business anymore. No. And Aperture hasn't been updated in a long time, and that's a pro piece of software.
That's right.
So, I mean, what people have to understand is that every single company out there, Apple included, has to put their resources where the money is. Yep. The money is in the iPhone. That's where the money is. The money is not in pro software. There's no money there. People can whine and complain all they want, but that's not where the money is.
But the reverse is true too. I warn people about this, be careful using these free tools, because They are free. They cost the company to make this stuff. They don't bring in any revenue directly. So what can happen is, and we've seen Apple do this with at least 20 different pieces of software, Apple can cut that software off at the knees in a heartbeat and leave you high and dry. Aperture is a great example of it. QuickTime Broadcaster is a great example of it. People have built businesses around Apple's free software, and then when Apple leaves them high and dry, they're screwed. So you get what you pay for.
This is a bit different, though.
Yep.
I mean, QuickTime Broadcaster was never a big moneymaker for Apple. I mean, you know, let's be honest. It's nowhere in the realm of the iPhone.
Yep.
So
I agree.
when Apple makes iWork and they make it free, they're making that so that people that buy the iPhone and iPads will look at that and say, wow, you know, here's a great productivity suite that I can download for nothing. I can download it on my Mac, and you know, all the stuff is in iCloud. I don't have to worry about what I'm going to use on the road on my phone to look at my spreadsheets or whatever. That's why Apple's giving the software away for free, so that people that buy their hardware products, where all the money is, will be able to use them and be productive using them, or have fun using them with iPhoto, or you know, whatever it is. But that's why the software is there.
Yeah.
So they're not going to stop doing that software because the iPhone is a moneymaker.
Folks, we're talking to Jim Dalrymple from The Loop at loopinsight.com. He has his own podcast called Amplified. It's available at 5by5.tv, also in the iTunes store. Do a search for Amplified. Yesterday, Jim and host Dan Benjamin talked about Apple, Mac, iPad, iPhone, all the usual stuff, and guitars. Jim, enjoy the concert tomorrow night, buddy. I'm kind of jealous. I'm a big fan of Black Sabbath. So you and the family have a good time.
Thanks, man. Sorry I was late.
That's okay. No biggie. See ya.
All right. Bye.
Jim Dalrymple from The Loop, folks. Thanks very much for Jim being here. And as I was saying before I got so rudely interrupted by Jim, so I sent an email off to the folks at Olympus. Just want to get the website back up again. Olympus has always made what I think of as good, not great, but good point-and-shoot cameras, and great cameras that you can abuse, that you can literally abuse. The Stylus Tough line of cameras, I've taken skiing with me. I've dropped and thrown into the snow. I've taken to the beach with me. I've taken underwater with me. I've taken out in the rain with me. As I said earlier, I've mounted to a motorcycle. I would never mount, literally physically attach the camera to my motorcycle. And if you ever sat in a motorcycle, you know those things vibrate. And if you ever hit a bump on a motorcycle, you know you feel that bump in your ass. So the camera's going to feel it too. So I like the Olympus Tough cameras, and I recommended them to folks who, you know, say you've got a kid who likes photography. Maybe you don't want to give the kid your iPhone. Maybe you don't want to give the kid an expensive point and shoot. But a mid-range point and shoot that the kid can drop, that the kid can take into the rain, that can take to the beach, get one of those cameras. I would always, at Macworld, I don't even know if the Olympus folks know this, but at Macworld Expo, I would rent the gigantic, this is a D600. Imagine a camera with a body probably about twice the size of this, like physically. It's the D3S, which is the camera I would borrow from the folks at lensprotogo.com. Physically much bigger than this. And I would hold up the Olympus Stylus Tough 7890 and say to the students in the class, which is the better camera? Is it this $10,000 camera or this $300 camera? And they would say, well, obviously it's a $10,000 camera. And then I would throw the Olympus on the ground, literally, just pitch it on the ground. And the audience would go, ah! And I'd go find it, wherever it slid to. I'd walk over, pick the camera up, and take a picture. And I'd say, right now, this is a better camera. So depending on the situation that you're in. So anyway, preamble to, I like Olympus Tough cameras. They've got a new one out called the TG3. If you go to the Olympus website, if you're watching the video, you can see that there's a new, this is the new 16 megabyte camera, f2.0 f-stop on it, waterproof, to 50 feet. A wireless control on it. I think it's got a temperature range like -10, -15 degrees. You get a free float strip. I don't know what that means. So I'm thinking this might be a good camera. So I sent an email off to the nice folks at Olympus, and they say, well, it's not ready yet. It's not ready till June. Okay, that's fine. Whenever you can fit me into your review cycle, I'll wait. I'm patient. And the PR person for Olympus, Jennifer I can't say her name. Jesus. I said it right earlier. Jennifer, I'm so sorry for listening. I'm sure you probably are. Got to get Jennifer's name right. Where's Jennifer? Jennifer Colucci. Jennifer Colucci is the public relations manager at Olympus in Pennsylvania. This is their head office in the U.S. So Jennifer said, hey, I remember you. We used to work together for the U.S. Open stuff. I said, yeah, I recognize your name. She said, I thought you lived in New York. I said, no, I moved up here to Vancouver. She said, well, that's neat. If you're living in Vancouver now, maybe you'd be interested in this. She said, Olympus is a sponsor of this event. And I looked at it and went, oh, that's kind of cool. It's the Whistler World Ski and Snowboard Festival, WSSF.com. And it's kind of like there's a music show. There is an outdoor concert, a disco, arts, filmmaker showdown, photography showdown. The folks at Skull Candy will be there. There's a skiing, a demo park for snowboarding, all kinds of fun stuff over a whole week from, actually more almost 3 weeks, April 11th to April 20th in Whistler, British Columbia. And Whistler, for those folks who remember the Winter Olympics that were in Vancouver in 2010, Whistler was a spot where they had a lot of the events, the downhill events, for example. So they said, Shawn, if you want to come, we'll invite you to come up to Whistler. I said, oh, that'd be great, fantastic. Do you guys have a bus that I can get on to go up there? And Jennifer said, why? I said, well, I can't drive anymore because my wrist. I don't trust. I could probably drive, but if something happened and I had to move real fast to spin the wheel, I don't think I could do it. I've got no mobility in the wrist. So Jennifer says, well, what if we send you a car? Well, what if we send you a car to come get you? That'd be freaking awesome. That'd be sweet. So on Saturday, April 12th, the nice folks at Olympus will send a car out here. It could be a Pinto for all I care, and drive me to Whistler, British Columbia, which is like an hour and a half north of Vancouver. And then, because it's a press event, what they'll do is they'll give you a little bit of a demonstration of the cameras. There'll be probably 10, 20 press people there. And they say, okay, here's what our new cameras are, here's what they'll do, da-da-da, any questions? And then they say, okay, they'll have a bunch of cameras on a table. And you just walk up and you grab a camera. And then you go shooting. And because Olympus is a sponsor of the event, just like the U.S. Open, you get some behind-the-scenes stuff, which is really kind of fun. You get to go, maybe we'll get some shooting angles that are different from other places that the average person can shoot at. The other thing is, you'll be able to swap cameras back and forth. So you might start off with just one of the point and shoots, and then ask some guy for if you can play with that DSLR, and then maybe use one of the mirrorless cameras. And so you'll swap those cameras around, and you'll switch camera cards. So while I'll swap cameras, I'll keep the camera card. And then we go to lunch. Then we go shooting some more. Then that evening, there's a concert, De La Soul. You know the band De La Soul? Well, they're playing a concert, and hopefully we'll get some behind-the-scenes stuff of that too. That night, they put me up in the Whistler Hilton. God damn! Whistler Hilton. Next day, we go shoot some more, and they drive me back home. This is going to be awesome! This is going to be so much fun! Except the downside. And this is the biggest downside of this. Something I teach in my photography class. By the way, we had our first photography classes last week. We had Mo, who's in the RC chat room in New Jersey. We've had Bob in Colorado. We had Bob in where's the other Bob? The other Bob was in Colorado. Can't remember where the second Bob was. We had Daniel in Maryland, and hopefully they all enjoyed it. I think they all enjoyed it. So if you want to get in on the photography thing, we'll talk a little bit more about that later. One of the things I teach in the class is one of the most important things in photography is learning how to use your camera, is reading the manual, is figuring out what all these buttons do. And even if you've got a point-and-shoot camera, there's a lot of buttons on a point-and-shoot camera. Figure out why your camera does the things it does. Figure out, if you're watching the video, figure out what all this stuff is on the back of your camera, what all these buttons and numbers and things do. That's really important taking good photographs. Even if it's an iPhone, you've got to figure out how to use the device. The problem with these kinds of press events is all they do is they hand you a camera and say, go shoot. Now, I want to take good pictures. I always want to take good pictures. So it's going to be really hard to get good, high-quality images from a camera I picked up 15 seconds ago. You know, I'm not going to have enough time to read the manual. I'm not going to have much of ability to flip through all the menu settings and set the camera up the way I want it set up with white balance and ISO and this, that, and the next thing with the camera. So that's going to be a bit tough. Plus, shooting conditions are going to be tough, too. It's going to be snow. There's still snow up in Whistler. And snow is its own challenge when it comes to getting good quality shots. So I'm hoping there'll be some, and I know there'll be some Olympus Pro photographers there that'll be able to help us out, that will say, you know, this is blowing out, how do I fix that in this particular camera? But it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a real blast. This event, I've never heard of this event before. Maybe it just only happened I've only been back in Vancouver 6 months, so maybe it just happened recently that this Whistler World Ski and Snowboard Festival, WSSF.com is the website if you want to check it out. So again, thanks very much to the nice folks at Olympus, and I'll definitely be posting pictures both to Facebook and to Twitter that Saturday and that Sunday, and then that Sunday evening I'll come back and have a bunch of pictures posted up on the website. The other thing is, that's right, the other reason why this all got started was because I wanted to do an interview with the folks at Olympus about what they call 4/3 cameras. You may know more about them because they're called mirrorless cameras, and these are cameras that are much thinner than previous than point and shoots, a little bit thicker than much thinner than a DSLR, and a little bit thicker than a point and shoot. But because of the way they're designed, they're almost as good, almost, not quite, almost as good as a traditional DSLR for the price point of a prosumer consumer DSLR. So I wanted to do an interview with those guys because I don't know much about mirrorless cameras. I know a lot of folks ask me about them, but I don't know a lot about the technology behind them right now. They haven't really caught on. Canon, Panasonic, the mid-range companies are working real hard to get their foot in this door. Sorry, I said Canon. Olympus, Panasonic, and that mid-range of manufacturers are working real hard to try to get their foot in this door. Canon and Nikon are dipping their toe in the water and are not really doing a bang-up job of creating cameras for this market. The best one, from what I understand, is the Fuji. Fuji, which makes really crappy low-end point-and-shoot cameras, and generally not very good DSLRs, even if they still make them, makes one of the best mirrorless cameras out there. So this is a wedge that those mid-range companies can maybe get into the market, because right now the DSLR range of this market is almost completely owned by Canon and Nikon. They sell like 65 to 70% of all the DSLRs out there. So something to look for. I got an email from our good friend Maurice there in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, about Office. Hey, Shawn, regarding Office, I have to use it daily at my job. All of my manuscripts, reports, presentations, and complicated spreadsheets are in Office. but I'm forced to use it since the world of science, it still rules. I also use it at home for all my scouting work. It's also standard in that world. For my iPad, I use the Apple Suite and won't use it because I don't have the subscription. Sorry, won't use Office because I don't have a subscription. Once the U moves to 360, once the university moves to 365, then I may use it. Well, I will use it. Unfortunately, I'm stuck using it. So it's a good point. Some people are just, they don't want to use it. They just don't have a choice. They're stuck using Office. Send me an email to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. I want to hear what you guys think about Office and whether you have to use Office, whether you want to use Office. Some of you may have seen me talking about this issue on Twitter the last couple of days. So because of the Olympus, just hang on. Because of the Olympus gig, I realized, I need to get business cards done up. My old business cards have an old phone number on them. Actually, geez, really old. My phone number from Nashville. That was many moves ago. But they don't say anything about photography. So I've known for a while I should get new business cards. I just haven't done it. So this Olympus gig was the impetus to me to start looking around for new business cards. A company that can do business cards online, because I can't go to a store. I can't go to a local shop to do it. Many years ago when Flickr first started, they had a deal with a company called Moo cards. And if you sign up for Flickr, you get 10, 15 Moo cards for free. And they were kind of cute. They were these little skinny cards that were about a little bit wider than a bookmark, a little bit shorter than a traditional bookmark. But they were neat because what you did was you could use their website and get your own pictures on the back of the Moo card. On the front of the Moo card would be your name and your phone number and your address, whatever the things that you would normally need on a business card. On the back, you could choose to get different images. So on Twitter the other day, I asked Twitter and Facebook, what do you guys suggest? And people came up with a lot of good suggestions. The problem is most of these online printing companies, their interfaces are awful. They're tear your hair out bad. And I'll tell you right now, the website moo.com, M-O-O.com, theirs isn't much better. It was the best of a bad bunch. But no one else except Moo Card had this kind of idea where I could get a bunch of different images on the back of my business cards. So I eventually went with the Moo Card folks. And because he's a mensch like that, and I mean this in a perfectly good way, our good friend Mosquito, Maurice Kessler, said, well, here, let me help you. And so what Maurice did was he designed the front of the card. And I think it looks pretty doggone good. Maurice came up with the font and the logo, and actually the name, Training for Beginners, and Shawn at startingpointphotography.com. I don't need to have a phone number there. I don't need to have a URL there. That's all already there. People can figure it out. If you can't figure it out, I don't want to talk to you anyway. But then, because of the way Moo Card works, I was able to choose, I can find it now, a bunch of pictures from my Flickr page that I could put on the back of these cards. So in the back of 7 or 8 of these cards will be this great, I love this image of Paul Kent. This is an image of Sinbad, the comedian that I took at Macworld Expo. The image of one of the signs at Pixar, Dave Hamilton at Macworld Expo, Mike Rose. So these will all be on 7 or 8 of these images of these business cards. And it was kind of funny. Kelly in the RC chat room was saying, why would you do this? Why would you have a different image on the back of all these cards? I said, well, what I'm going to do is when I go to hand out a business card, I'm going to fan the cards out like a deck of cards to people, and they can choose their own image. I'll have the picture side up, so folks will see 8 or 9 images, and they can pick their own image, one they might like. It also, I think, hopefully, gets across the idea that I'm a photographer. That these are my photographs. These are my images that I've taken on the back of these business cards. So you'll take a card, you'll flip it over, and you'll see, oh, Starting Point Photography, Shawn King, and the email address. So I think that's it. The bad part about this is, oh dear God, these were expensive. And it's partially my own fault because I'm the guy who waited to the last second. 200 cards were about $45, but express printing and express shipping is another $45. So it's going to cost almost $100 to get these cards for me, and hopefully they'll get here on time. If they don't get here on time, I'm going to be pissed. Gonna be pissed. The funniest thing is, after I do this, I get this comment from, again, Kelly, who've been eye-chatting all day. She said, did you ask the MooCard guys if you could do something in trade? What? Well, did you mention to them that you were going to do this thing with Olympus? And they were, it's kind of a big deal. They're fetting you. They're driving you and doing all this kind of stuff. Huh? She said, hey, dummy, you can go to these companies and say, we'll do a barter deal where you give me the free business cards and I'll pimp your company. My stupid caveman brain never even thought about that. I don't think that. I said it to Kelly. I don't think that way. I don't think that I can monetize or barterize the things I do. It just never occurred to me that, oh yeah, I could send an email to the MoveCard guys and say, hey, because if they'd said no, I'd still be in the same boat. I'd still have to get the cards. But if they said yes, I get free cards. Nope. Brian Monroe, it's called hustling. Yeah, and I can't do it. I suck at it. It just doesn't cross my mind to think that way first. If I'm like the contest for the 20th anniversary show, I knew I was going to do that ahead of time. So that I can do. That I can send an email out to folks and say, hey, company A, you want to be involved? Send us some stuff. But just off the top of my head, type of marketing, hustling, bartering things, just don't get it. I absolutely don't. Just never crosses my mind. I mentioned earlier about the YouTube page where I've been doing on Monday and Tuesday. I did a couple of reviews of software. One of the reviews was for a really neat piece of software that I really, really like using. Sorry, I got myself talking in my own ear. Called Waterlog. I don't know if you guys have seen this piece of software. It's really kind of neat. It's $3 on the Apple Store. It is a piece of software that will take, how to describe it? It will take an image that you have and turn it into this watercolor look in a real simple, real easy kind of way. It's just a button push kind of thing. There's a bunch of filters along the bottom that have got names like bold and luminosity and travelogue and that kind of stuff. And I've been using it, as I said in the video, sometimes I take a picture and it just doesn't come out the way I expect it to or the way I want it to. And so I'm always looking for other, but I think to myself, there's something here. There's some sort of kernel of goodness here. So that's when I start taking these kind of images into software to try to filter them and manipulate them and change them and edit them. And this one, Waterlog, is actually a lot of fun to use. If you get a chance to go to the website, waterlogapp.com, water, LOGUEAPP.com. If you get a chance to check it out, please do. Watch the demo on their website. And then, like I said, it's $3 on the iTunes store if you want to. So check that one out if you get a chance. Then the other thing I did was another video with another app that I absolutely love called Snapseed. Now, Snapseed is really interesting to me, if only because Snapseed is the app. Oh, geez, stupid ad. Yes, I'm going to skip the ad, you dirtbags. Snapseed is a really interesting app because it's free. It's from Google. From the folks at Google, they've got a version of this that you can use on the Google Plus website. I don't use it. I don't like it as much as I like the iOS app. And it works on iPad and the iPhone. I like it better on the iPad because it's just more space to be able to manipulate images. But it's really easy to use, and yet it's really powerful too, which I think is really cool. They made this ridiculously easy to use piece of software that just by poking around, and it's just, you don't got to know anything about it. You literally don't need to know what any of the terms mean on the app. If you don't know what saturation is, don't worry about it. If you don't know what ambiance is, don't worry about it. Contrast, doesn't matter. All you do is you pick some of the adjustments that you see in the app, tune image or straighten or details or grunge, whatever it might be, and just poke at the app. Slide your finger around the app, and you'll see the image will change. And that'll tell you what that is. So, obviously you'll figure out what brightness is. You'll figure out what saturation is. You'll figure out what ambiance does to a photo. Did I mention this is free? Did I mention that this app doesn't cost you a red cent? The only glitch with it is, and I've had this happen to me a couple times, is that sometimes it doesn't save when you hit the save button. So I always save it a couple times and then check my camera roll to make sure that it's actually there. But otherwise, that's the only issue I've had with the Snapseed app. Otherwise, it's a fantastic app. Like I said, I think I was saying during the pre-show, every one of my photos, whether it's on the iPad or the iPhone, every photo I take gets passed through Snapseed in some way, shape, or form, whether that's just for cropping or just for saturation or whatever. But every single photo I take goes through Snapseed at least once. Because I like the app that much. It's that powerful. It does such a great job. So check it out if you get a chance. I'll be doing more videos too. You can go to the website, YouTube, do a search for Starting Point Photography, and my YouTube videos should pop up. They're always going to be short little videos. They're always going to probably be videos about iOS apps, and they're all going to be targeted at beginners. They're all going to be focused on just the beginners out there. If you want to learn more about photography, I do, as I've been saying, hopefully a very entertaining photography class, and it's online via Google Hangouts. It's on demand. So anytime you want to do it, I can do it. I was talking to a friend of Mosquitoes in the UK, and she was worried about, I'm worried about the time zone change. I said, don't worry about the time zone change. You're paying me. If it means I have to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to do the class, I'll get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to do the class. I don't care. It's generally going to be one-on-one. We did a class last week with 3 guys, but that's fine. I also did a class last week with 1 guy. I can do anywhere between 1 and 5 people. I would never do more than 5 people, because it just gets a little much. But check it out. Send me an email to Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com if you want more information. Go to the website, yourmaclifeshow.com. There's a link there, or go to the photography website, startingpointphotography.com. Let's do some emails. Look at another email from Gary Apter. Says, Office, totally not needed by me, no use of any of it. And I think it's going to be a fairly common thing for a lot of our users. Now, I'm not saying everybody. I'm not saying there's nobody in the audience who's going to use Office. A lot of folks will, but for most of us, it's going to be absolutely fine that we don't have Office. I don't know how old this email is. I apologize for, where was it? David Cowell. That's not old. David Cowell says, hey, Shawn, thanks for the Holly Cole tip. I believe it was you that originally suggested Holly Cole to me. Thanks for the tip. If it wasn't you, look her up on iTunes. I think you'll love her music. David, it was me. Holly and I are, very much like Jim Dalrymple, are from the same town. We both were born and brought up in Halifax, Nova Scotia. So I'm glad you like her music. I've always been a huge, huge Holly Cole fan. And tell everyone, folks, if you want to, Holly is the best way to describe her is a jazzy blues singer. She's got a great, smoky voice. Do a search in the iTunes store. I don't know how much of it's available in the American iTunes store. I know she's huge in Japan for some reason. But do a search for her on the iTunes store, and her name is Holly Cole. I'm trying to find the 1028. What 12? Why are my emails backwards? There we go. David Bridle. David Bridle in. He's a photographer. his website, davidbridle.net, David Bridle Photography. He says, thank you for the email informing me that I have won this prize. I am very pleased. However, may I ask for you to give this prize to someone else? I have Adobe Lightroom and the whole Creative Cloud, so I feel someone else will get more benefit from these products than I would. I hope you don't think I'm being rude. David, I don't think you're being rude at all, dude. I think it's fantastic. You could have easily given this prize away to somebody else, but you want to give it back to the YML audience? I've got no problem with that at all. This is the creative kit from the nice folks at MacFun, MacPhun.com, and it's Snap Peel Pro and Intensify Pro. So we're going to do a drawing. Let me make sure I get this set up right. So David, get David's email right there. Go to the subscription list. And now this is where you folks in IRC chat room have to say stop. I'm scrolling through the list of make sure I get the thing right. Okay. Someone knew that. Oh, Brian Monroe's way ahead of me. This is going to go out to Click of One Graphic Design. There's no name. Click of One Graphic Design. So Click of One. I'm not sure who that is, but congratulations to Click of One. You've just won a copy of the MacFun Creative Kit. That's a copy of Snap Heel Pro and Intensify Pro. So thanks very much to Click Heel One for being a subscriber. Another subscriber win to your Mac life. Glenn Ramsey says, I promised you back in December when I won the Dodo case, I'd send you a picture of it. Here you go. I didn't even receive it until the middle of January. They were catching up with the Christmas orders. I've been super busy. It's a really nicely built case, and I will certainly take a beating in day-to-day use. I got it in burgundy leather with a red elastic strap. Unfortunately, being custom-made, it won't work with the iPad Air or likely any future model that I upgrade to. I'll still get plenty of use out of it. Thanks again, and a shout-out to Macy at Dodo Case for getting it to me. That's Glenn up in Juneau, Alaska. Glenn, you know what you do? When you sell or get rid of the iPad that's lovingly encased by that Dodo case, sell the Dodo case too. Give the Dodo case out to someone at the same time. Also, another winner, thanks to the nice folks at Connex. They've given us their Connex Kazlet iPhone wallets. Knez, K-Y-N-E-Z. I'll have to find out how to actually say their name. It's Connex or Knez. Knez.com is the website. So we're going to give a lucky winner a promo code for $30 off one of the Calzet phone wallets. Hang on a second. Let me get the list of subscribers, and I'm scrolling. So now you guys get to say stop whenever you would like, so we can pick a winner out of this list. There we go. Brian Monroe again is the guy to say stop. This goes out to Khaled Al Sayed, Saudi gamer. Oh, Khaled. Khaled is obviously in Saudi Arabia. So Khaled, congratulations. You've won. I get your name into here to make sure I get this right. You've won a Kazlet wallet for your iPhone. Hopefully you can use this. More emails from folks. David Groh says, I love the show. I've been listening mostly after the fact for what seems like forever. According to the account tab, for over 7 years. Originally paid and subscribed via Audible. But I found the experience to be well worth the few dollars I've been paying. I didn't know how much they were passing on to you, but thought you deserved more. When you started subscriptions, I selected the $2 plan to show my support and appreciation for all the information and enjoyment I've received over the years. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. The more I listen, the more I enjoy. So I'd like to change my subscription from $2 to $5 per month. Fantastic! I'd also like to change the date to either the 28th or the 1st of the month. How can I do that? Okay, I've had this has come up a couple times in the last couple of weeks because so what you want to do is you want to unsubscribe, go to your PayPal account and just, I don't even know how to do it, unsubscribe, and then wait till the day you want the money to come out, so in your case the 28th or the 1st, and then resubscribe that way. So it'll unsubscribe, it'll send me an email, and I'll be sad. But then when you resubscribe, I'll be happy again. So that's the easiest way to do it, just because there's no way in PayPal that I've been able to find where you can just upgrade. I mean, you could do 2 PayPals, one for $2, one for $3, but that'd be a pain. It's easier just to unsubscribe and then go ahead and resubscribe. He says, I wish I could listen live, but Wednesday night is already taken up. I listen to the archive via the podcast, usually while I'm working outside or driving. Rarely indeed do I have the opportunity or time to watch one of the shows, but I've truly enjoyed listening for the past several years. Carry on for another decade. This is David Groh in Mountain Grove, Missouri. Missouri? MO is Missouri, right? Montana? Help me out here. Is Montana MT? I think Montana is MT. P.S. Suggestion. How about a mail to link next to the formal link at the top of the page or feedback page link? Yeah, I'll get around to doing that. I think I say on air at yourmaclifeshow.com. It's behind me on the video. I say Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com so many times that I just never thought about putting it on the website. So hopefully I'll get around to doing that one of these days, David. Ashish Sawant. Ashish, hopefully I'm saying this your name correctly. This is something that's happened more often in the last couple of months. Hey there, Shawn. I just wanted to show you one of the emails that got through Gmail spam filters. It fooled me on clicking the link. Also, mobile Safari didn't detect the phishing attempt. The URL and the header got me a bit suspicious. The final straw was when the page actually loaded completely. Just wanted to share with you that's all. What he's saying is that he got an email that at the bottom of it, the email said, "Dear client," and it's had an Apple logo in the top of it. "Your account has been temporarily blocked for you to protect it. The account will continue to be frozen, blah, 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 all the usual phishing stuff. Click here to activate." I never, ever, 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 ever click on any of those links in any email that says my PayPal's been blocked, my bank account has been frozen, that I need to update this or that or the next thing. None of those things will ever, there is no reputable company that will do that. If there is, I would go to the website directly. So if Apple says your account's been hacked or closed, I don't click on the link in the email. I go to apple.com. I try to sign in with my Apple ID. Don't click on links in emails like this. Check them yourself to make sure. Another listener from Australia, Cameron Romeri. Cameron says, just dropping you a line from Melbourne, Australia. Still listening to your podcast. Just can't make the live chat room these days. I'm back at school studying. Good for you, Cameron. What are you studying? Let me know. Are you in university or high school? Wish I could. In fact, I wish I was retired. Regards, Cam. This is Cam talking about the thing that I've been saying the last couple of shows. If you like something, tell them. If you like a podcast, if you like a website, if you like a Facebook page, if you like a person, tell them. I'm really trying to get this going. Really trying to get all of you guys to, we complain so much, and rightfully so, about our bank and about the service and the taxi cab and all this kind of stuff. Our boss. We can still complain. I'm not telling you don't complain. I mean, God knows I complain as much as anybody. But when someone does something good, I think this came out of my increased use of Facebook over the last couple of weeks, and how much I like the little like button. The little like button on a post. I'd would much rather someone write something on a post that I posted, a comment, whatever it might be. I prefer that. But just the like thing, 'cause I get an email, and the email says, "Hey, Shawn, so-and-so just liked whatever it was that you did." And I was thinking to myself, that's kind of cool. That that person took 2.7 seconds of their life to say, "Hey, I like you." Try that. Do that more often. Speaking of I like you stuff, have you guys checked out, if you're on Facebook, I've got a page called My Best. My Best Pick. See if I can find the page. You can probably just do a search for it on Facebook. Do a search for My Best Pick. And what it is I'm trying to get the page to come up. How come I can't link to the page? See, this is, again, one of the things I hate about Facebook is I can't see a way to link to this page easily. My Best Pick of is what's the group called. And what it is this website the Facebook group, I guess it's called, where I am posting. I started, but I'm encouraging lots of other folks to post a picture that means something to you, that you think is your best picture of something. And you know what? It doesn't have to be a great picture. We've had people post pictures that they say is out of focus, that they don't like as a picture, as a piece of photographic art imagery. But the picture meant something to them. I love the comments I'm seeing from folks about why they posted this picture. Tom Reiser in St. Paul, Minnesota. This is a picture of one of my favorite pictures. Tom is actually posting pictures of pictures. It's the St. Paul, Minnesota Cathedral, and he framed it to hang on his wall in his windowless office. So this isn't Tom's view outside of his office. This is a picture of a picture that Tom's taking. I thought it was hilarious, Tom. What a great idea to liven up your office. This is a picture professional photographer Tony Rosario posted of the Brooklyn Bridge. It's a gorgeous picture. But other folks have posted pictures. Let me just scroll down here to, this is the one that Kathy Lubers has posted, and it's out of focus. Now you zoom into this picture, and it's not composed particularly well. I would change a whole bunch of things, but the background is awful. But the picture meant something to Kathy. The picture, Kathy likes this picture. And you know what? If Kathy likes this picture, that's good enough for me. That's all that matters. Kathy likes this picture, and this is a great picture. This is Kathy's best picture of a cicada coming out of its cicada thing. I love this one, too. This is Kate Anderson. Kate posted this picture that says, it's a truly terrible photo. It's blurry. It's badly framed. You name it. I've screwed up with this one. However, it's the first photo I ever took of a marine iguana. She says, part of the reason it's blurry is that I was crying with delight. Kate, that is a great picture for that reason alone. If a picture makes you cry, if a picture makes you have some sort of emotional reaction, that's a great picture. Sorry, I got the low battery one. Because that's the point, to me, of photography. Something I say in our class is your picture should tell a story, even if it tells a story only to you. Kate, this picture doesn't tell that story to me. This picture doesn't make me cry, but it makes you cry, and that's all that matters. I don't care if it's blurry. I don't care if it's out of focus. I don't care if it's badly framed. I don't care. It's a great picture because you took it, and it creates some sort of emotion in you. There's your photo tip of the day, along with the other ones. When you point your camera, this is one of the things that I say in the photography class, the difference between just a snapshot and an image is the story you're telling. Why are you pointing your camera at this scene? If you think about that before you take your next picture, the picture will become better. Because you might go, yeah, there's no story here. I don't know, what the hell am I taking a picture of? Or you might think, okay, the story of this image is this, and then you'll start thinking about it along those lines, that I'm telling a story, so now I need to make sure that the elements of my story fit the story. And again, I talk more about that in the class. Oh, that's right. Mosquito says Kate is the friend in the UK who wants to take the photo class. Good. Man, I didn't put the two together. Sorry, I didn't realize that was the same Kate. Got any more late breaking emails? Let's see. Gary says, yeah, Holly Cole has got a bunch of songs or a bunch of albums in the iTunes store, American iTunes store. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 different albums. If you want a great one, Blame It on My Youth. Actually, sorry, I take it back. A great Holly Cole album for beginners, the best of Holly Cole. It's $10 in the iTunes store. It might be cheaper on Amazon.com or Amazon.ca. Check it out there because that'll get you the best of the best up to that point. I adore Holly Cole. Folks, that's it till next week. I want to say thanks very much to Jim Dalrymple from The Loop at loopinsight.com. Thanks very much to the listeners who gave up their prizes to more listeners. I love that. I love the fact that you guys, and believe me, if you had wanted to give it away to a friend or a family member, I wouldn't have had a problem with that. You want it, you can do whatever you want. But the fact that you guys gave it back to us, that's what makes the YML community so great. I got something for you guys next week, but my brain can't think of what it is. There's something going on next week. What's next week? Next week is the 9th? Something's happening. I'll remember later. I'm sure I'll unbrain cramp myself and remember later. I want to say thanks to all you guys for joining us, whether you joined us in the IRC chat room or the Google Hangout or watching the YouTube video or the thousands and thousands of you who are tuned in via the archive. Thanks very much to you guys, as always, for being on the show. I always appreciate it. Until next week, I've been Shawn King, and you've been listening to Your Mac Life. See ya! Is it just me, or is there no damn audio? Did I screw this up again? No, there's the audio. The audio's fine. I'm just a frickin' moron. Night all.